Alright, welcome to another Blu-ray DVD collection update video. We're going to be taking a look at some recent releases from Via Vision Entertainment, as well as some of the more recent Imprint films releases as well. There's quite a lot to take a look at here, so let's get into it. Alright, so as I said at the top, we're going to be taking a look at some Via Vision, some Imprint films as well. Let's start off by taking a look at the kind of more standard releases. These have been released over the last couple of months. I think we're taking a look at February and March releases. First off, we've got one that I've been wanting on Blu-ray for quite a while. It is the classic Weekend at Bernie's. Great movie where two guys move into like a millionaire's house, beach house, and he dies, and then they pretend that he's alive, and they keep him alive as like a human puppet. It is the most bizarre, wacky, outrageous, unbelievable thing ever, but it is so much damn fun, and I love this movie. I used to watch it all the time as a kid, and finally available on Blu-ray. It actually was released on Blu-ray by Network over in the UK some time ago, and I've been like, I know that Via Vision released a lot of the Network stuff in Australia, so I've been holding off on importing that one. Happy I have, because I got the local edition right here. Doesn't look great. It's not the best looking thing. This is not a movie that they're going to put the greatest effort into remastering, but it looks fine, and I'm happy to finally have that in my collection. Another new release right here is About Last Night. This is a great film from the middle 80s. We've got Rob Lowe, James Belushi, Demi Moore, and Elizabeth Perkins. Another one of those great kind of coming of age sort of movies that came out around this time. It's an adaptation of a Broadway play, and it's pretty good. I like these ones. This sort of came out around the same time as like St. Elmo's Fire and all those great films. I believe actually Via Vision did recently just re-release St. Elmo's Fire on Blu-ray, or well, for the first time in Australia they have put that one out there. But yeah, this is a good one. It's a typical 80s coming of age film where it's a little bit of comedy, a little bit of drama, a lot of heart, really great character pieces, and based on a Broadway play. It's going to be very, very talky and a little bit melodramatic, but it's good. I like this one right here. We've got this one right here, which is one I'm very excited for. This is Rawhide, the complete first season. Of course, Via Vision only just recently reissued all of the seasons of Rawhide on DVD. They sent all those over to me some time ago in a couple of box sets. I think 9 seasons or something like that. Went on forever. Of course, this is where Clint Eastwood was discovered. This was his first major starring role. Great TV series, black and white Western series. It's so much fun. The DVDs that they reissued were from, I guess, original DVD masters that have been probably knocking around for about 20 years. They essentially just reissued what's been available on the market. But these, I believe, are newly remastered in HD. They look really, really good. Now, I don't know if Via Vision has intentions to release the entire series on Blu-ray. I hope they do. I would love to get them all on Blu-ray because this is just such a really, really great show, and it's going to be a really great way to watch them. It's a show that I've only ever seen really, episodes here and there over the years, and never, sat down and watched it all in total. And when I got the DVDs from Via Vision, I was going to do it. I was going to watch them all, and now they're hitting out the Blu-rays, so I think that's going to be the way to do it now. This is a 5-disc set. It's got all, I'm not sure how many episodes, doesn't say. I would hazard a guess that there's probably like 30 odd episodes. These old shows had like 30 episodes, seasons. It's like 19 hours and 40 minutes worth of content, but that is great. That's such a good like late 50s, early 1960s series, or even to late 1960s. It went for nearly a decade. But yeah, really cool. And if you're a Clint Eastwood fan, you've got to check this out. And it looks great on Blu-ray. I feel sorry for anyone who I spruiked all the DVDs to. Now the Blu-ray is available, but go out and grab that. We do have a DVD right here. This is the Alfred Hitchcock remake double bill. These are a couple of remakes that were made of Alfred Hitchcock films in the late 1970s. We've got the 39 Steps starring the great John Mills, and The Lady Vanishes with Angela Lansbury, who we lost not that long ago, very, very sadly. Of course, Sybil Shepherd is in that one as well, and Elliot Gould. These are two of Hitchcock's greatest movies. 39 Steps is a movie that he did, I guess, in the 1930s, mid to late 1930s. The Lady Vanishes was one that he kind of did a little bit later, but they were both really great Hitchcock classics. These, again, are not the Hitchcock versions. These are remakes of them. Not as good. I mean, you can't... Every time they try and remake a Hitchcock movie, it's nowhere near the brilliance of Hitchcock. But it is kind of interesting to kind of go back and see how his films have been kind of readapted over time, or, you know, stuff like that. They try and do it every now and then. I can never quite catch the mark. But I do like these older ones. And these are kind of very much in the style of like a 1970s. If you think of stuff like the Agatha Christie films, the Poirot movies, like Death on the Nile, all those like kind of 70s, 80s ones, very much in the style of those. They don't feel entirely Hitchcockian, but they're a lot of fun. So particularly if you're a Hitchcock fan, they're interesting to take a look at and just kind of see how his ideas were readapted over time. So let's take a look at some imprint titles. This is a selection of the titles that were released in February. So let's take a look at these ones right here. This is number 198, 202 and 203. There were a few others that were released as part of this wave, but was just sent a selection this time around. This one here is The Mountain, starring Spencer Tracy and Robert Wagner in one of his very, very early roles. This one comes from 1956. I love Spencer Tracy. I've actually been watching quite a few of his films recently, and he's really, really great. This is called The Mountain, and he's a retired mountaineer, and he goes up on this slope to reach this side of this massive plane. There's been this massive plane crash, and he wants to go up to help the people, see if there's any people there to help save them or whatever else. And he goes up with this mountaineer guide, and once they get up there, they realize, well, there might actually be a fortune on this plane, and it might be worth pillaging it. So it's kind of like this kind of man versus nature thing where, you know, they go up with the greatest of intentions, but after a kind of a long, laborious trek, they, you know, start to turn a little bit. And I think it's quite a good movie. It's not Spencer Tracy's best. It's not one of the best of the era, but it was a lot of fun, and I did enjoy that one. But yeah, as always, the imprints, they come in these great slip covers in a nice little amaret case right there. Very, very cool. Can't believe we're up to like over 200 titles right now. This is crazy. So this one here, 202, Hurry Sundown. This is a Michael Caine movie from 1967. Henry Warren is an unscrupulous and greedy landowner obsessed with buying up all available land in Georgia farming town. Blocking his path are sharecroppers, Rad McDowell and Reeve Scott, who refuse to sacrifice their small firms for his industrial schemes. I'm a fan of Michael Caine, but I've discovered recently there's not a lot of his movies that I really love. This one is decent. It's a bit of a melodramatic film, a bit of ahead of its time, particularly in how it handles these ideas of land ownership and I guess touches a little bit on like colonialization and all that kind of stuff. This is a decent movie. This is kind of probably one of his better films. They issued this on DVD, Via Vision, a couple of months ago as well, in a Michael Caine box set, and now finally have got it here on Blu-ray. It's got a really great cast in there, which also includes Jane Fonda and Burgess Meredith and Faye Dunaway. So this is a really decent movie to take a look at from the late 1960s, and if you're into stuff like this, I would definitely recommend it. Looks great on Blu-ray. I think this is a fairly recent 2K scan from Paramount, so it looks very good. The Mountain, I should have said, is also from a fairly recent 2K scan of the film. We've got this one right here, which is Resurrection, starring Ellen Burstyn. A woman who experiences clinical death returns to life with the amazing ability to heal others. Attributing her powers to human love rather than divine intervention, she begins to aid the residents of her childhood town. This is a very sappy, very melodramatic film from 1980. Not particularly the kind of movie that I usually, you know, really love or enjoy, but I thought this one was okay. Ellen Burstyn, of course, delivers a really good performance in this one. And it is sappy, it's melodramatic, and it's very one of those kind of heavily kind of faith-based films where you're kind of questioning, is this divine intervention, is it all, or is it, you know, maybe something else? decent movie. There've been a few of these in the imprint line. Again, not my favorite, but it was interesting to take a look at. And I love the fact, I say this almost every time, that the imprint films do, the imprint line does offer a really great varying selection of movies right there. So those three right there are a selection from the February titles. I've just received a couple of titles from the March wave right here. We have got number 204 and 205. Number 204 is Little Budha. This is a film by Bernardo Bertolucci from 1993. In a big American city, a boy and his family discover a story about a prince in a land of miracles. But the miracle becomes real when Tibetan monks appear, searching for their leader's reincarnation, who they believe has been reborn in the boy. Decent movie. It's, again, not the best. It's a movie that kind of, over time has, you know, critics have not been, you know, too favourable to this one, but it's okay. And Bertolucci, of course, is a fantastic filmmaker. This one has got Keanu Reeves in it, Yingro Chen, Chris Isaac in one of his very rare acting roles from the period. Tried out a bit of acting for a while, realised he wasn't that great, and then kind of dipped out of it, went back to his music. But yeah, this is, I guess, it's not a sequel to The Last Emperor, Bertolucci's film from a few years earlier, which of course did win the Academy Award for Best Picture. But it's kind of been seen as like a spiritual sequel. It sort of has a lot of the same themes. It focuses on a lot of the same kind of stuff, and in a way you could see it as a sequel, so it is considered the spiritual sequel to that film. So it was good for me to get this one. I was happy to get this one on Blu-ray and finally check it out for myself, having seen The Last Emperor some time ago, and yeah, there are a lot of similarities between the films. But yeah, that one's good. I enjoyed that one, but you know, going with, no, it's not The Last Emperor. I'll say that much. We've got this one here, number 205, which is The House of Spirits. This is a film from the middle 90s. We have got Meryl Streep, Jeremy Irons, Glenn Close, Winona Ryder, Antonio Banderas. Really awesome cast. The stormy yet passionate relationship between the supernaturally gifted Clara and her controlling husband Esteban, who resists change both politically and personally. This is, again, another one of those films kind of from this era, which is a little bit spiritual, a little bit kind of mystical, but very, very melodramatic. I thought it was good. I'm not the biggest fan of Meryl Streep in the world. I'm not really a fan of Meryl Streep at all, but I always find her stuff to be very, very melodramatic and over the top. And this, I think, is a really great example of Meryl Streep's work, particularly in the 90s. But if you are a fan of Meryl Streep, this is a film that you're really going to love. But I do love Jeremy Irons, Winona Ryder, and Antonio Banderas. They're all great. So I think, you know, I was excited to see this film particularly for their performances, and it is good. It's an enjoyable movie, and I do like the kind of, you know, mystical, kind of little spiritual, supernaturally kind of movies from that era, from the 90s. I'm just a sucker for 90s movies in general, really. But yeah, this one has got a huge melodramatic edge to it, as you can tell by those involved, and I guess, again, by the artwork that you can see used on the posters and stuff. But yeah, these are all really great installments in the imprint line right there. Again, this is just a selection of the March titles, I should say. I think there were 6 released in this wave. I was only sent over these 2 right here. But yeah, so they're the more recent imprint titles right there. And look, I enjoyed all of them to a degree, and very cool. They have got some more really exciting things coming up very soon, both Via Vision and imprint films. There are a couple of really exciting box sets coming out next month from imprint, and I'm really hoping that I get sent those. We've got another film noir collection coming out, a box set of great adventure films as well, which I'm really looking forward to, and hopefully I'll get my hands on those to do a review for you all out there. I know that you love when I cover the imprint stuff, and I get to cover as many of them as possible. So thanks again to Via Vision for sending over this most recent wave of stuff, and thanks everybody out there for watching. I'll see you on the next one.